It was midnight when Teresa awoke with a crushing weight on her chest, stealing her breath. For the third night in a row, something invisible seemed to be draining her energy while she slept. Confiding in her grandmother, a devout follower of Padre Pio for 60 years, she received guidance that would change her life forever. "My child," her grandmother said, "place a bay leaf at your doorsill today." Padre Pio taught that this sacred plant banishes all nighttime oppression. You'll discover why Padre Pio of Pietrelcina considered the bay leaf one of the most powerful plants for spiritual protection during sleep, and how a simple leaf can create an impenetrable barrier against negative forces that attack during the night. Padre Pio taught that the nighttime hours are when the veils between the spiritual and physical worlds thin. Unfortunately, this allows destructive energies easier access to our auric field, especially during sleep when our natural defenses are down. That's why he developed specific nighttime protection rituals, the bay leaf ritual being one of the most effective. During his 50 years of mystical life, Padre Pio constantly received people suffering from inexplicable nighttime oppressions, recurring nightmares, the feeling of suffocation during sleep, waking up with marks on their bodies, unexplained insomnia, or simply the feeling that something bad was present in their room during the early hours. Evelyn, a textile merchant, arrived at the convent of San Giovanni Rotondo in 1952, completely desperate. For 6 months, she hadn't had a peaceful night's sleep. Always between 2 and 4 in the morning, she would wake with a terrible feeling of being watched by malevolent presences. Padre Pio listened carefully to her account and said something she would never forget. "My daughter, the enemy of our souls attacks preferentially at night because it is when our spirit is most vulnerable. But Jesus gave us sacred plants that act as spiritual sentinels. Place a fresh bay leaf on your doorsill every night. You will see that the oppression will cease immediately." Is this true for you? Have you ever felt a disturbing presence in your room during the early hours? But why specifically the bay leaf? Padre Pio explained that since biblical times, the bay leaf has been considered a consecrated plant for its natural ability to purify spiritual environments. In ancient Rome, emperors wore laurel wreaths not only as symbols of victory, but also as protection against curses and the evil eye. Modern science has discovered that the bay leaf emits specific chemical compounds that alter the vibrational frequency of the environment. But Padre Pio went further. He taught that these natural substances have supernatural properties, capable of creating an energetic barrier that evil spirits cannot penetrate. Evelyn followed Padre Pio's instructions precisely. On the first night, she placed a fresh bay leaf at the entrance to her room and prayed 3 Hail Marys before sleeping. For the first time in months, she had a full night of restorative sleep, without any disturbance or strange sensation. On the second night, she decided to test if it hadn't been mere coincidence. She again placed the bay leaf on the doorsill and slept soundly from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. On the third night, she forgot to place the leaf, and the oppressions immediately returned. From that day on, she never slept without her green sentinel. Padre Pio taught that the bay leaf acts as a spiritual filter. Positive energies can pass freely, but any negative force that tries to enter the protected environment is immediately repelled. It's as if the plant creates an invisible force field around the room. Say yes if you want to transform your room into a protected sanctuary, but there are specific details that make all the difference in the ritual's effectiveness. First, the leaf must be absolutely fresh, never dry or withered. Second, it must be placed specifically on the doorsill, not anywhere else in the room. Third, it must be replaced every 7 days, preferably on a Monday. A Milanese engineer witnessed something that proves the supernatural power of this practice. For 10 years, he suffered from sleep paralysis, that terrifying condition where a person wakes up conscious but cannot move, usually accompanied by frightening visions of shadowy presences in the room. Doctors said it was just a neurological disorder, but when he began following the bay leaf ritual taught by Padre Pio, the episode ceased completely in less than a week. Even more impressive, when he forgot to change the leaf after 7 days, the symptoms immediately returned. This proves that it is not mental suggestion or a placebo effect, but a real and measurable spiritual protection. The bay leaf literally creates an energy barrier that prevents negative supernatural manifestations during the nighttime hours. Padre Pio explained to his closest followers that there are specific times during the early morning hours when negative spiritual activities intensify, mainly between midnight and 3 in the morning. It is during this period that the bay leaf demonstrates its maximum effectiveness, acting as a silent guardian at the entrance to the room. Tag someone who urgently needs this protection during their sleep. A nurse from Rome reported an experience that perfectly illustrates how this protection works. She worked night shifts, and whenever she came home in the morning to sleep, she felt a heavy energy in her room that prevented her from relaxing properly. Following the advice of a devout colleague of Padre Pio, she began placing fresh bay leaves at the entrance to her room. The result was immediate. The environment became lighter, sleep became more restorative, and she stopped having those disturbing dreams that had tormented her for months. Even more interesting, she discovered that when she placed 2 leaves instead of 1, the feeling of protection and peace intensified proportionally. Padre Pio taught that for cases of more severe oppression, the number of leaves can be increased, always in odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, or 7 leaves. But pay attention to a fundamental detail. The leaves should never be stepped on or mistreated. They must be treated with reverence, because once they are consecrated as spiritual protection, they develop a sacred consciousness that responds to the respect or disrespect shown. Share if you believe in the power of sacred plants for spiritual protection. There is also a specific prayer that Padre Pio taught to be recited when placing the bay leaf at the entrance to the room. This prayer greatly enhances the effectiveness of the protection, but it was only shared with a select few faithful during private confessions. Saint Padre Pio of Pietrelcina, through the intercession of Jesus Christ, I consecrate this bay leaf as a guardian of my nighttime peace. May no evil force cross this doorsill. May only angels of light be permitted to watch over my sleep. May your protection accompany me throughout the night. Amen. This prayer should be recited mentally, never aloud, so that its spiritual energy doesn't dissipate into the environment. The power of silent prayer is always superior, because it concentrates all intention directly onto the consecrated object. A family from Naples discovered a truly astounding additional effect of the ritual. After a month of placing bay leaves at the entrance of every room in their house, their children completely stopped having nightmares. More than that, they began reporting extraordinarily beautiful and comforting dreams. The mother of this family recounts that one night she awoke and saw a gentle light emanating from the bay leaves placed on the children's bedroom door. She wouldn't believe it if she hadn't witnessed it personally, but the leaves were literally luminous, radiating a golden and comforting energy. Type protection. If you want this spiritual light protecting your family, Padre Pio also warned about mistakes that can completely negate the ritual's effectiveness. Never use dried bay leaves sold in supermarkets for seasoning. These leaves have completely lost their vital force and have no spiritual protection capacity. Always use fresh leaves from living plants. Another common mistake is placing the leaf anywhere in the room. It must be specifically on the doorsill. because that's where energies enter and exit the environment. It's like placing a guard at the only possible entrance. He can control everything that tries to pass. Never let skeptical or mocking people see or comment on your bay leaves. Padre Pio taught that scorn and disbelief can break the spiritual consecration of the object, nullifying its protection. Keep your practice private, sharing only with people of genuine faith. A merchant from Palermo made this mistake by detailing the ritual to an atheist friend during lunch. The friend laughed and made jokes about medieval superstitions. That very night, the merchant returned to having terrible nightmares after weeks of peaceful sleep. He had to restart the entire ritual from the beginning. This proves that spiritual protections are delicate and need to be treated with complete reverence. What is sacred must remain sacred, protected from the contamination of disbelief and rampant materialism. Save this now, because you'll want to review these guidelines when you begin the practice. There are also documented accounts of people who experienced deeper liberations through this simple practice. A teacher from Florence suffered from nighttime depression for over 5 years. All medical treatments failed, and she even considered psychiatric hospitalization. In desperation, she decided to try the bay leaf ritual that a friend had learned on a pilgrimage to Padre Pio's tomb. In the first week, she felt a subtle but noticeable improvement in her mood upon waking. In the second week, she managed to sleep without medication for the first time in years. In the third week, something extraordinary happened. She woke up in the middle of the night and saw the bay leaf on the door, emanating a soft golden light, even more impressive. She clearly felt Padre Pio's comforting presence in the room, conveying a peace she had never experienced before. From that night on, the nighttime depression disappeared completely. She testifies that she was healed not by medication or therapy, but by Padre Pio's direct intercession through the sacred plant ritual. Today, 5 years later, she continues to sleep with bay leaves and has never had a relapse. Comment miracle if you've witnessed an inexplicable healing. There's also a variation of the ritual for extremely severe cases of spiritual oppression. Padre Pio advised that if a person suffers from very intense manifestations, like objects moving on their own, unexplained noises, shadowy apparitions, they can make a circle of protection using 7 bay leaves. In this advanced ritual, 1 leaf is placed at the main entrance of the room, and the other 6 are strategically distributed, 2 on the sides of the bed, 2 near the windows, 1 near the closet, and 1 in the center of the room. This creates a complete protective field that no negative force can penetrate. An exorcist from the Diocese of Rome confirmed the effectiveness of this method in cases where people suffered severe spiritual attacks. He testifies that in 80% of cases, the bay leaf circle managed to completely stop the negative manifestations, often eliminating the need for more complex exorcism rituals. But Padre Pio always warned, this advanced ritual should only be used in truly serious situations, never out of curiosity or experimentation. The power of the 7 leaves is so intense that it can cause unexpected side effects if used improperly, such as extremely vivid dreams or very intense mystical experiences. Tag the person who most needs to know about this powerful protection. One of the most fascinating discoveries about the bay leaf ritual is its ability to positively influence the nervous system during sleep. Italian researchers investigated families who had practiced the ritual for decades and discovered unique patterns in their polysomnography exams. People who slept with bay leaves at the entrance of their rooms showed more harmonious brainwaves during REM sleep, lower levels of nighttime cortisol, and significantly higher cell regeneration than the general population. It's as if the plant not only protects spiritually, but also optimizes the physiology of rest. Padre Pio always taught that body and soul and spirit are inseparable. When the spirit is protected at night, the body regenerates better and the soul strengthens. That's why people who regularly practice the ritual report not only better sleep quality, but also greater physical and emotional energy during the day. A doctor from Milan who started using bay leaves 3 years ago testifies that her ability to concentrate during complex surgeries has improved dramatically. She attributes this to the superior quality of restorative sleep she has had since she began the practice. Even more impressive, she noticed that when she forgets to put the leaves out for a few nights, her professional performance visibly decreases. This suggests that spiritual protection during sleep has cumulative effects on mental and physical capacity during waking hours. Padre Pio revealed to his closest disciples that the bay leaf possesses a unique spiritual memory. When a leaf is used for nighttime protection for 7 consecutive days, it absorbs and learns the energetic patterns of that specific person and environment. This means that after a few weeks of practice, the bay leaves become increasingly effective for that particular family, creating a personalized and progressively more powerful protection. It's as if the plant develops a symbiotic relationship with the home's inhabitants. A Venetian family documented this progression over 2 years. In the first month, they felt a basic yet perceptible protection. By the 6th month, the children completely stopped having nightmares. Within the first year, all family members reported extraordinarily peaceful and restorative dreams. In the 2nd year, something astonishing happened. The leaves began to show physical signs of their spiritual activity. They developed a slightly golden coloration and emanated a gentle fragrance not characteristic of ordinary bay leaves. It was as if they had been transformed by the constant spiritual energy. Today, this family testifies that their bay leaves have almost supernatural efficacy. Any visitor who sleeps in the house comments on the extraordinary peace they feel at night, even without knowing about the protective ritual. Share if you want protection that evolves and strengthens over time. There's also a specific protocol for discarding the used leaves, which is crucial for maintaining the ritual's effectiveness. Padre Pio taught that leaves used for spiritual protection should never be thrown in the regular trash, as they carry negative energy absorbed during their filtering function. The correct method is to burn the used leaves in a safe place, preferably in the backyard or garden. While praying a Hail Mary of gratitude for the protection received, the ashes should be buried in the earth, returning to nature the energy that has been purified. A Genovese family discovered what happens when this protocol is neglected. For a year, they threw the used leaves in the regular trash. Gradually, they noticed that the effectiveness of the protection was diminishing, and some nighttime disturbances began to return. When they learned about the correct disposal method and began burning the used leaves with reverence, the protection returned to its maximum potency in a few days. This proves that every aspect of the ritual has specific spiritual importance and cannot be neglected. Padre Pio always taught that sacred plants deserve the same respect we dedicate to any consecrated object in a church. They serve God by protecting His children, and therefore must be treated with total dignity. Type respect if you promise to treat the sacred leaves with reverence. There's a particularly striking testimony that demonstrates how the bay leaf ritual can completely transform the life of an entire family. A businesswoman from Turin named Evelyn had been suffering for 2 years from nighttime oppressions that were destroying her health and relationships. Every night, between 1 and 4 in the morning, she would wake up with terrible sensations. A weight on her chest, difficulty breathing, a feeling of a malevolent presence in the room, and a deep anguish that left her trembling. Doctors ran every possible test, but found no physical cause for these symptoms. The problem worsened when it began to affect her husband and children. The children started having constant nightmares. Her husband developed chronic insomnia, and the whole family lived in a state of constant tension. It was as if a dark cloud had settled over that house. That's when Evelyn decided to make a desperate pilgrimage to Padre Pio's tomb in San Giovanni Rotondo. While praying in the saint's crypt, an elderly lady approached and whispered, "Daughter, I see in your eyes the same suffering I had 40 years ago. Padre Pio taught me the secret of the bay leaf. I can help you." This lady, named Maria Antonietta, was one of the last living people who had personally spoken with Padre Pio before his death in 1968. She recounted that the saint had taught her not only the basic bay leaf ritual, but also advanced techniques for severe cases like Evelyn's. Type HOPE if you need a solution for nighttime oppressions. Maria Antonietta explained that in cases where the whole family is affected, it's necessary to apply the family purification protocol that Padre Pio taught only in extreme situations. This protocol goes far beyond a simple leaf on the door. It involves the complete consecration of the home environment. The first step is to identify exactly when the problems began. Evelyn immediately remembered. Everything started after she bought an antique painting at an auction. It was a beautiful painting, but since it was hung in the living room, the energy of the house had completely changed. Maria Antonietta wasn't surprised. Padre Pio always said that antique objects can carry negative energies from their previous owners. That painting brought something bad into your house. She instructed Evelyn to follow a specific protocol. First, remove the problematic object, then purify each room with consecrated bay leaves. The family purification protocol works like this. For 9 consecutive nights, a fresh and blessed bay leaf should be placed at the entrance of each room in the house. But it's not just any leaf. They must be previously consecrated with a specific prayer that Padre Pio taught for extreme cases. Evelyn meticulously followed all the instructions. On the first night, she removed the painting from the house and placed blessed bay leaves at the entrance of all the rooms. On the second night, she noticed that the weight on her chest had diminished significantly. On the third night, her husband slept the entire night for the first time in months. Comment: liberation. If you want to get rid of oppressions that are destroying your peace. But the most impressive thing happened on the 5th night. Evelyn woke up at 3 in the morning, but this time it wasn't because of anguish or fear. It was because she felt a comforting presence in the room, a soft, golden light emanating from all the bay leaves scattered throughout the house. For a few minutes, she could clearly see the figure of Padre Pio moving through the house, as if he were performing a deep spiritual cleansing of each room. He was smiling and making blessing gestures over each bay leaf, amplifying its protection. From the 6th night on, the whole family began to have extraordinarily peaceful and restorative dreams. The children would wake up telling stories of beautiful angels appearing in their dreams. Elena's husband slept soundly again, a restorative sleep he hadn't experienced in years. The deep, restful slumber returned to him. On the 9th night, as the protocol concluded, something supernatural occurred, something that sealed the protection of their home forever. All the bay leaves simultaneously developed a unique golden hue and began to emanate a delicate rose fragrance, the same distinctive scent associated with Padre Pio. This happened 5 years ago, and Elena's family has never experienced another instance of nighttime disturbance. More than that, their home has become such a powerful haven of peace that anyone who sleeps there comments on the extraordinary tranquility they feel. Save this video. You might need the family purification protocol. Maria Antonietta also revealed a little-known secret about preparing bay leaves for spiritual protection. According to Padre Pio, Maximum efficacy is achieved when the leaves are personally harvested from a plant cultivated with prayer and loving care. Those without access to their own plant can obtain fresh leaves, but must treat them with utmost reverence from the moment of acquisition. Never touch the leaves with unclean hands. Never allow those with negative energy to handle them, and always thank the plant for the sacrifice of its leaves. There's also a special technique for spiritual activation of the leaves that multiplies their protective power. The leaf should be held between the palms for 5 minutes while silently reciting the chaplet of divine mercy. This creates a direct energetic link between the person and the leaf. A Neapolitan merchant who learned this technique testifies to extraordinary results. His bay leaves not only protect against nighttime oppressions, but also seem to attract positive blessings for his entire family. Business opportunities appear more frequently. Their family health has visibly improved, and even marital conflicts are resolved more easily. Padre Pio taught that when a person consecrates a leaf with love and genuine faith, it becomes much more than a simple spiritual filter. It becomes an active channel of heavenly blessings for that home. Tag someone who needs to know about the spiritual activation of sacred plants. There's also a specific calendar that further enhances the ritual's efficacy. Padre Pio discovered that certain lunar phases amplify the power of sacred plants. Leaves harvested and consecrated during the waxing crescent moon possess 40% greater protective capacity than those prepared during other phases. This is because the waxing crescent moon represents growth and expansion of positive energy. Plants harvested during this period carry that expansive vibration, creating more powerful and lasting protections. It's ancient knowledge that modern science is beginning to validate. A family in Florence who rigorously followed this lunar calendar documented impressive results. When using leaves harvested during the waxing crescent, the entire family reports prophetic dreams, accurate intuitions, and a constant feeling of spiritual guidance throughout the day. Even more fascinating, the children in this family developed a natural ability to sense when the leaves need changing, even before the recommended 7 days. It's as if they've developed a psychic connection with the protective plants. Padre Pio always said that children possess superior spiritual sensitivity to adults. Therefore, he advised that whenever possible, a child from the house should participate in placing the bay leaves. A child's innocence enhances the consecration and creates purer protections. Type family, if you will involve children in the spiritual protection of your home. There's also a version of the ritual specifically for those living alone who suffer from severe nighttime oppressions. Padre Pio called this personal fortress, a method that transforms the individual's room into an impenetrable sanctuary. In addition to the main leaf at the entrance, 4 smaller leaves are strategically placed, one in each corner of the room. This creates a square of protection that acts as a spiritual fortress. No negative force can penetrate this sacred perimeter. A university professor from Rome, who lived alone and suffered from nocturnal panic attacks, applied this technique with spectacular results. In the first week, the attacks decreased by 70%. In the second week, they ceased completely. In the third week, he began to have positive mystical experiences during sleep. He testifies that some nights he would wake up and see the 5 bay leaves emitting a soft light, as if they were small spiritual beacons guarding each strategic point of the room. The feeling of safety and protection this provided was indescribable. Even more impressive, when friends came to visit and slept on the living room couch, they always commented on the extraordinary peace they felt in the house. Some even asked if he had somehow changed the energy of the apartment. The protection of the room radiated throughout the entire residence. Share if you live alone and need this personal fortress. Padre Pio also revealed that the bay leaf ritual can be adapted for protection during travel. When a person needs to sleep in unfamiliar environments, hotels, relatives' houses, inns, they can take previously consecrated bay leaves and create instant protection. Simply place a small leaf on the doorsill of the room where they will sleep, accompanied by a silent prayer of consecration. Protection is established immediately, creating a mobile sanctuary that accompanies the person wherever they go. A businesswoman who constantly travels for work adopted this practice 3 years ago and has never again experienced insomnia or nightmares in hotels. She always carries a small envelope with consecrated bay leaves and testifies that she sleeps better anywhere than many people sleep in their own homes. Interestingly, managers of some hotels have commented to her about the positive energy that seems to accompany her. Employees report that after she stays in a room, the atmosphere becomes lighter for subsequent guests. This demonstrates that the protection of bay leaves not only benefits those who practice it, but also leaves a positive, energetic signature in the environments where it is applied. It's as if each protected place becomes permanently more welcoming and sacred. Type travel if you need spiritual protection away from home. Finally, it's crucial to understand that the bay leaf ritual is not superstition or magic, but an authentic Catholic spiritual practice based on Padre Pio's profound knowledge of God's creation. He understood that certain plants were created specifically to serve as instruments of spiritual protection and healing. The Catholic Church has always recognized the power of blessings bestowed upon natural elements: holy water, blessed salt, sacred oil. These are all natural substances infused with supernatural properties through consecration. The bay leaf, used with faith and prayer, operates under this same ancient sacred principle. Padre Pio of Pietrelcina, officially recognized by the Church as a saint and intercessor, continues to work miracles through these simple yet powerful practices he taught during his earthly life. Thousands of families around the world testify to the transformative effects of this divine protection. Modern science might attempt explanations through chemical compounds or psychology, but the results far surpass anything material science can encompass. We're talking about real, supernatural intervention, measurable through its fruits: peace, protection, liberation, family restoration. If you've made it this far, it's because Padre Pio wants your family to have access to this extraordinary protection. A protection he personally taught to hundreds of devotees during his 50 years of ministry. It's no coincidence you discovered this secret today. It's a direct call from heaven for you to take a practical step of faith. Starting tonight, before you go to sleep, place a fresh bay leaf at the entrance of your bedroom. Pray 3 Hail Marys of protection. Entrust your night into the hands of Padre Pio, and prepare to experience the most peaceful and restorative sleep you've had in years. Comment Amen if you'll begin the ritual tonight. Tag 3 people who urgently need to know about this nighttime protection, and save this video to share this extraordinary gift from God with other families. May Padre Pio of Pietrelcina be the eternal guardian of your dreams and your entire family, today and always. Amen.